Tessa begins her college journey with the support of her mom and boyfriend. She shares a dorm room with two girls named Steve and Tristan. During their stay, Tessa's mother catches the scent of weed nearby and leaves abruptly. Concerned, Tessa follows her and calmly reassures her that she will be responsible and cautious. Impressed by Tessa's maturity, her mother bids farewell, wishing her success. As Tessa returns to her room, Steve wonders if Tessa's mom was upset about something. In a twist, Steve finds Tessa's boyfriend attractive but mistakenly assumes he is her brother. Shortly after their interaction, Steve departs. The following morning excites Tessa as she looks forward to attending her classes. She befriends a student named Landon who shares her major in English literature. Their mutual passion fuels their eagerness to delve deeper into its intricacies. After taking a bath and returning to her dorm, Tessa is surprised to find a guy sitting on her bed, engrossed in a book. Startled, she politely asks him to leave, but he nonchalantly brushes off her request, showing indifference towards her situation. Steve clarifies that he is one of their friends and extends an invitation for Tessa to join them at a party. Apprehensively, she assumes the guy doesn't believe she will show up. Before he leaves, he ruins the ending of her book, The Great Gatsby. The next day, Tessa's heart skips a beat when she sees him again in the library. Their eyes lock for a moment, and she feels a surge of emotion. Later, her friend Steve convinces her to join a party that night. Hesitant, Tessa decides to spice things up and wears a dress for the occasion. Steve looks at her outfit with a hint of disapproval. At the party, Tessa mingles with Steve's friends, who pressure her into taking a shot and insult her when she refuses. During a wild game of truth or dare, Tessa refuses to share her sexual history and picks dare instead. A nasty boy offers to help her complete the dare, but Tessa walks away from the nonsense. She tried to call her boyfriend, but he scolded her for drinking. Seeking solace, she escaped to a quiet room full of books, only to encounter the same guy from before. She was worried he might be drunk, but he assured her he was sober. He took her hand and told her it was his room, then leaned in for a kiss. Tessa pulled back and left. Back in her room, she received texts from Noah. The next day, still reeling from the party, Tessa walked into class and spotted Landon, the kind boy who had been nice to her. She took a seat next to him, but then Hardin arrived, the arrogant jerk who had insulted her. Tessa clenched her teeth as Hardin and the professor sparred over love, his words full of contempt and doubt. The class flew by, and Hardin left with a cocky smile. Tessa ranted to Landon about Hardin's arrogance, only to discover that Hardin was his stepbrother. That night, Tessa's wild roommate, Steve, persuaded her to get a tattoo. As Steve shared stories of her many lovers, Tessa thought of Noah, her only boyfriend and her mother's darling. Later, Tessa witnessed Steve's escapades and turned away, feeling suddenly naive. As Tessa drifted off to sleep, Hardin's intense gray eyes and cold words haunted her thoughts. She felt an unwanted pull to his enigmatic darkness, threatening to ruin the simple life she had always known. The following morning, she was sipping on her freshly brewed coffee when Hardin approached. He expressed a desire to forge a friendship, citing their mutual acquaintance, Stefan, as a common bond. He extended an invitation to her to visit a place dear to him, yet she was initially reluctant. On the verge of declining, she found herself inexplicably swayed to accept. Together, they journeyed in his vehicle until they arrived at a location reminiscent of an untamed forest. Venturing further into the thicket, Tessa was greeted by the sight of an expansive lake. Hardin shared that this was his sanctuary and encouraged her to swim. Disrobing, he plunged into the lake's depths and beckoned her to follow, offering his t-shirt for modesty. With his gaze respectfully averted, she donned the garment. Once in the water, their laughter echoed as they frolicked. In a candid moment, Tessa inquired about his deepest affection, to which he wryly replied, "Myself." The conversation turned to her boyfriend, a devoted high school admirer. Hardin then taught her the art of breath-holding, unveiling the serene underwater realm. To Hardin, Tessa was a unique gem, his gaze laden with admiration. She reminded him of his wish for platonic ties, but he confessed such a bond was beyond reach, sealing his words with a fervent kiss. Afterward, he averted his eyes once more, allowing her privacy to dress. Yet, Tessa sought his embrace, and in the throes of passion, they surrendered to love. Each caress quickened her pulse, marking the beginning of an unforeseen journey. In an unexpected twist, they stumbled upon an enigmatic tavern. Tessa, captivated by the enigma that was Hardin, probed into his obscure history, only to be met with elusive answers. As she pondered the intricacies of love and its influence on him, he playfully cautioned her against taking his words at face value, igniting shared mirth. Their amiable exchange, however, took an unforeseen detour with the arrival of Steve and another companion of Hardin's, casting a shadow over his mood. Later, he confided in Tessa a startling revelation. Despite the joy of their encounter, he was unable to commit to a romantic liaison. As Tessa contemplated divulging their intimate moments to her boyfriend, she detected a flicker of sorrow in Hardin's expression. Departing from their rendezvous, she returned to her dormitory. That night, she awoke to an astonishing vision: Hardin seated beside her bed. Alas, it was merely a figment of her imagination. The next day, she was stunned to see Hardin outside her door holding a bouquet of flowers. He had come all the way to see her. That night, Tessa and Noah went to a party where Steve and her friends played a game involving passing a card with their mouths. Tessa refused to join in, which made Noah act possessive. Hardin intervened, starting a brawl before storming off. Later that night, while watching a movie with Noah, something was bothering Tessa. She got a call from Landon, who told her that Hardin had a fight with him and mentioned her name, thinking she might be able to calm him down. Tessa learned that Hardin was angry about his father marrying Landon's mother while his own mother lived in a slum in London. In his anger, he smashed a glass, and Tessa cut herself trying to clean it up. Hardin took her to his room and apologized for his earlier behavior. They both admitted feeling wrecked, felt a spark between them, and ended up spending the night together in his room. She woke up to find Noah frantic about her. He saw Hardin there and realized what had happened, leaving without a word. Heartbroken, she walked back to her dorm while Molly smirked at her. Tessa felt like she had lost her best friend, her emotions too complex to put into words. She was miserable throughout her classes and tried to reach out to Noah. In a surprising encounter, Hardin and Tessa met unexpectedly. Tessa shared with Hardin about her childhood, when her father left her and her mother when she was 10 years old. Noah, her best friend, became a source of support for her and her mother, indicating there was more than friendship between them, a deep unspoken connection. One day, Hardin convinced Tessa to stay at the library after it closed. While Hardin was reading, Tessa sat on his lap. They attracted the attention of security, but instead of being scared, they laughed and ran away together. This experience became a lasting memory for them. As their relationship grows, their friends start to notice their strong connection. Hardin adores Tessa and even interrupts her classes to tell her how beautiful she is. One day, Tessa sees Hardin secretly writing in his notebook. He playfully keeps his thoughts hidden from her, which they both enjoy. Their romance soon blossoms, bringing them even closer. However, fate has other plans. Tessa's mother accidentally finds them in an intimate moment and becomes angry. She blames Tessa's roommate, accusing innocent people in her anger. Tessa refuses to let her mother control her life or dictate who she should love. She stands up for herself, asserting her independence, which only makes her mother more upset. She gives Tessa an ultimatum, warning that Hardin will break her heart and they should end their relationship. Tessa confides in her friend Landon about her struggles. Landon's perspective on Hardin is complicated, and he warns Tessa to be careful. Amid this emotional turmoil, Hardin suggests they live together in a place owned by a friend of his father's in Italy. Her mother cuts her off, but Tessa and Hardin move in together, experiencing a happy relationship filled with fun and memories. Hardin can't believe that Tessa is his, feeling undeserving of her. Tessa believes nothing will alter her love for him. They attend the wedding of Hardin and Landon's parents, where they are introduced to Karen and Ken, Landon's mom and dad. They are glad to meet Tessa, but Hardin is upset to see his father with another woman. Tessa calms Hardin down, but he remains resentful. His father makes a speech complimenting Hardin, but Hardin confides in Tessa that he is not the father he once knew. He says some things never change and shares a tragic story. One night at a pub, his father angered some goons who later came to his house and violated his real mother. After the speech, they dance and look into each other's eyes, eventually slipping into a room where Tessa initiates a romantic moment. One day, Tessa becomes the object of Molly's jealousy, who questions her about her boyfriend. Tessa doesn't reveal much about Hardin, but Molly texts something from his phone that makes Tessa suspicious. When Tessa asks Hardin what he is hiding, he tells her to trust him and insists there's nothing to hide. Anxious, Tessa wants answers. A friend texts her to meet at Videodrome and informs her about Hardin. She gets in the car and meets Jade, who tells her that Hardin might be at Blind Bob's. There, she meets Steve and her friends, who tell her that she and Hardin have been living together off campus. Molly reveals a video of the first time they played Truth or Dare, where Hardin had taken a dare to make Tessa fall in love with him and then break her heart. Feeling betrayed, Tessa confronts Hardin, who insists his feelings are genuine and the dare was from before. Tessa leaves without giving him a chance to explain, feeling alone and heartbroken. Tessa goes back home and hugs her mother, apologizing and expressing her love. She meets Noah and tells him she never wanted to hurt him, which he accepts with a smile. Determined, Tessa decides to change her major from economics to English literature and writes an email requesting the change, unaware that fate is already at work. Meanwhile, Hardin struggles with their separation, tears flowing as he remembers their cherished moments together. Amidst these emotional trials, Tessa receives an unexpected interview invitation for her dream internship at Vance Publishing. At the same time, she gets an envelope from her teacher containing meaningful items that represent her intertwined life with Hardin. Inside, she finds Hardin's notebook filled with drawings depicting their love story, a heartfelt offering and a testament to how love can change even the most skeptical souls. Hardin confesses in those pages that he used to think love was fiction until he found his own Elizabeth Bennet, someone who consumed him and guided him out of darkness. He asks Tessa for forgiveness for all the pain they've endured. In a revelation, Hardin unequivocally declares that the person he loves most in the universe is Tessa. With these words lingering, the story concludes. I hope you enjoyed this recap of After Ever Happy, the movie that takes you on an emotional roller coaster with Tessa and Hardin. If you did, please like and share this with your fellow fans. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. Let me hear your thoughts on the film and its revelations in the comments below. See you in the next one.